Engineer Dave Cause on a Sunday afternoon. You know we've been blessed and we're alive. And you also know it's Joy 99.7 FM. And of course it's Ultimate Health with me, Nortey by nature. Welcome aboard. In all things we give praise. We have life. Yeah, some call it a program, I call it a promise. Some call us a frequency, I say it's a family. Stick and stay. Ultimate health in effect. Like I said, we have life. So I'll take this one from Desiree. Sing along, huh?
Said and done, I know I'm not the only one. Life indeed can be fun if you really want to. Sometimes living out your dreams.
Not because you're afraid, right? But because you're alive. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. Today we're talking about hypertension. Know your blood pressure, control it, and live a longer, healthier life. On the heels of World Hypertension Day, May 17th, yeah, we want to raise awareness. You know, we did Meatless Monday a couple of months back, in February, I think, yeah? So have you heard of the May month of measurement? Do you know what we're measuring? When we're talking about hypertension today, I have in the studio Dr. Dorcas Ajin Abonsu, physician specialist and a cardiology fellow in training at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Next to her, I have Wing Commander Dr. Benjamin Tobo, also a physician specialist at the 37 Military Hospital, cardiology fellow in training, and military air crew medical examiner. We're going to be talking about hypertension. You can share your experiences, your concerns, your questions WhatsApp is 055 997, and we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Docs, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Right. May 17th, World Hypertension Day. We do observe these days every year annually. This has been, I think, the case since about 2005, 2008. And later they also instituted the May month of measurement. But you're most welcome. And you're both cardiologists or cardiology fellows in training. Tell me about what does that mean?
Well, basically it means that we are pursuing a fellowship in cardiology.
All right.
Which is a 3-year course at the...
After doing your specialization in...
Yes, in
as a
internal
physician,
medicine.
Internal
yes.
medicine, okay.
First, you must be a physician, and then you subspecialize in cardiology.
Right. Okay.
It's 3 years long.
Wow. To do with the heart.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, many of my listeners will be wondering, well, okay, the heart and hypertension, we hear cardiovascular, we hear all these things. What's the link?
Okay, so the heart, I mean, I'm sure other disciplines will argue, but if your heart stops beating, you are dead. And the heart is the driving force of the body. It pumps blood to every part of the body to nourish the tissues in those parts of the body for you to undergo your daily activities. So it's made up of the heart itself and then all the blood vessels that link the other parts of the body to the heart.
Okay. So that's the cardiovascular system.
Mainly, yes.
Mainly.
The heart and the vessels.
All right. So it pumps blood around, which gives fuel, nourishment, everything. It plays its part in protecting the body, immunity, and all the community needs. It removes waste products and all that, right?
Yes. Yeah, because it will carry blood to the liver and kidney to remove the waste.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right. But hypertension has to do with the pressure of blood in the arteries.
Yes.
Can you explain that to my listeners?
Yeah, basically, when the heart is pumping, it pumps to send blood out.
Okay.
And then it must also relax to receive blood to pump out at the next instance.
Okay.
So, because of that, there is a pressure that it generates in the blood vessels.
Okay.
And the pressure, when it is pumping, is what we call the systolic.
Okay.
And then when it is relaxing to receive blood is what we call the diastolic.
Okay.
So the blood pressure is represented by two numbers.
Two figures.
Exactly.
Right? You know, you heard me hit on this same program, this station, know your numbers, right? And we've been rattling it. Hey, my brother, Dr. Albert Akbalu, I greet you. Know your numbers, boom, 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 as we say, right? We're going to be learning about hypertension related to the pressure in your arteries, right? As your heart works as it's supposed to. Okay, so the pressure is required to push the blood around, send it back to the heart, and keep on circulating, right? So we'll be learning why that can become problematic, and then the import of that for your health and your well-being. Remember, we're doing hypertension, know your blood pressure, control it, and live long. So one of the things I'm going to say before, even after we finish, one of the things you need to know is that most people do not know their blood pressure, right? True. Most people don't have a clue that they are or they may be hypertensive. So when we say May month of measurement, we want to raise awareness, okay? And make sure that everybody checks and doesn't take it for granted that they are okay, because it's called a silent killer. And my guest in the studio will be sharing why it's a silent killer and why it hides and, pretends it's not there, and then suddenly, boom, we hear things, okay? If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Sorry if I'm sounding nasal, sign of the times, okay? Right, but you're both members of the Ghana Cardiology Society. Have I got it right?
Ghana Society of Cardiology.
Okay, right.
Ghanaian.
So now you're playing with my heart.
It's in keeping with the international convention where we have like European Society of Cardiology, American, Japanese, Chinese. So we also have Ghanaian Society of Cardiology.
All right, all of you in the business of cardiology.
Yes,
right. Okay, and you're also pushing hard on this topic and the matters arising.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe later on downstream, we'll share some of the things you're doing in this month of measurement. Okay. So let's come back. My heart is pumping, right? When it's pumping blood out of a healthy heart, right? There's a healthy pressure.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then when it relaxes, there's also a healthy pressure.
Yes.
Okay. So let's understand what hypertension is.
Well, basically, hypertension is when the pressure is higher above a certain cutoff point.
Okay.
And for us, the cutoff point is 140/90. The top part is 140, and then the lower part is 90.
Systolic when it's pumping,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
Equal to or higher than 140,
140,
is high
you are
blood pressure.
hypertensive.
Okay? And then
The diastolic.
when it's not pumping or is relaxed
Mhm.
is equal
Equal
to
to or higher than
above
90.
90. Okay. That represents hypertension.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, many people hear and know that the normative or normal blood pressure is 120/80,
Mhm.
right? What we are setting right now is the point at which you will be diagnosed as having hypertension.
Hypertension. Exactly.
Yes.
140 or
90.
above, right?
Mhm.
Okay, because you'll see if you check, and my listeners are discerning, they will check, right? Greater than or equal to.
Exactly.
Right. So that's the border. Okay. So if it was Ghana and Togo, then beyond this you are in Aflao. You've gone.
You don't want to be seen talking to the Togolese.
You don't want to be seen anywhere near.
Yeah,
them.
you should be on the Ghana side.
Okay. Now, Doc. Again, I'm asking general questions, but I know you're a tag team. You know who will take what and. But so well, what would cause my heart, right,
Mhm.
to exceed the normal? And again, when you give me that border, which you say I shouldn't go near,
Mhm.
right? If I go near it once, is that hypertension? How do we get a conclusive diagnosis of hypertension? Because many people are in denial. Oh, my
Yeah.
doctor didn't actually say,
Mm.
right? He just said, oh, he's concerned. She's concerned. What is a conclusive diagnosis of hypertension, or who is hypertensive?
Okay. So, like you rightly said, the normal blood pressure we target at 120/80.
Okay.
We have terminologies. If you start getting above that, we may say it's elevated or it's
Okay.
pre-hypertension.
Okay.
But to make a diagnosis of hypertension,
Mm-hmm.
we target at 140/90 or higher.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, we don't take a single reading to say you're hypertensive because
Let's say, for example, let's say Arsenal just lost.
exactly.
And I'm not exactly an Arsenal fan, but somebody who is is not amused. Tector or why, we are not amused. And then my heart reacts.
Yeah.
And I go beyond this. But I hopefully I'll come down. Hopefully they'll win again. But would that be hypertension?
So no, we don't take a single reading.
Okay.
The body responds to stress in various ways,
Okay.
acutely or immediately.
Mm.
So for us to diagnose you of hypertension, we need at least 2 readings. The 2 readings can be the same day, about 30 minutes apart.
Okay.
Okay, or it can be different days, but then still 140/90 and above.
Okay.
Nowadays, we are even encouraging home BP measurements
Right.
or out of office BP measurements
Mhm.
because some people, no matter what, are so tense in the hospital that their BP is a little high.
Okay.
So if we check your BP, we ask you to relax, you calm down, environment is cool, we recheck within 30 minutes
Okay.
and it's still high, we'll diagnose you with hypertension. By high, I mean if it's 140/90 or above.
Okay.
If you do it at home, you get 2 readings of this. It is hypertension.
Okay. It is.
It is hypertension.
All right.
The management...
No bend, no curve.
No bend, no curve. It's just that some people respond to non-pharmacological, some respond to pharmacological.
Okay, we'll get to the management or
Exactly.
treatment in a second. Those of you members of the Stubborn Academy, it is because of you especially, and because of the fact and the nature and the profile of hypertension that I'm hitting on this, right?
Yes.
They didn't say I'm hypertensive. They didn't really say I need the medication. I take it as and when, and so on and so forth. We are talking to everybody. Indeed, many of us listening to Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 right now do not know, do not have a clue and do not show any signs and symptoms that we are hypertensive. So this is why this is important. This is why there's a May month of measurement, right?
Yeah.
You go out there and you go and check. Say that too no Nortey Dua on Joy said go and check, right? And we'll be finding out what are the risk factors or variables involved and equip ourselves and empower ourselves. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 05511119997, and we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Shortly, I will activate the phone lines as well. Okay, so that is a diagnosis.
Yes, please.
Twice,
Mhm.
consecutive, yeah?
Preferably, yes.
Then now, we know some people expect women, pregnancy-related hypertension. So in that case, I'm expecting, and my BP shoots up. Okay, but it's because I'm pregnant, right? Am I hypertensive?
It is still hypertension.
All right.
Because it's not every
What we call
pregnant woman
gestational hypertension,
or pregnancy-induced
pregnancy-induced. Okay.
hypertension.
Mm.
Yes. So you may have had normal BP readings prior to getting pregnant,
Mm.
but then in your third trimester onwards going, you
Okay.
notice that we measure your BP and it's high,
Right.
like 140/90
Okay.
consecutively. We are getting high BP readings. It is hypertension. Yours is pregnancy-induced, but it is still hypertension. It needs to be treated because it has
Okey-dokey.
adverse outcomes.
Right.
Yes.
For you and possibly maybe even for the pregnancy and the baby.
Exactly,
Right.
and sometimes even after.
Right.
So yes.
Okay. All right. So as the lawyers will say, very well, my lord. Right. We've taken that. I've got this. This is who's this now? This is Oye Nafienya, welcoming me to her home. Hey, Oye, I do, Charlie, by grace. Right. Thanks for tuning in always. Hi, Nortey. Please say hello to Dr. Ajin Bonsu for me. Her sister Bwahima. Hey, it's an Arsenal fan. Oh. Why is BP in COPD patients? What's that now? COPD.
Chronic obstructive pulmonary.
Right, disease,
Yeah.
right, or disorder. Patients not the same in non-COPD. Whoa, you cry. Are you? You want to turn this into national maths and science quiz, right? And their saturations believed to be what? Normal between 86.
86.
Humphrey in the UK is asking that. Note that. I'll come
Hi,
back.
Humphrey.
Yeah. Okay, Humphrey. Yeah. Hello. You all right? Yeah. Nortey, I'm a hypertensive person, age 66. Sometimes it reads 95 systolic and then 65 diastolic and pulse 59. Other times it's 130 over 65 and pulse is 60. My question is, the low readings, is it okay and not to be worried? So hypotension, is it a problem? Is it of medical or health concern? Sometimes when I get the low readings, I don't take my medication till the next day. Is that okay? So we'll chew on that. I'll come back to these
Okay,
questions in a
sure.
bit. Okay. So we've got a diagnosis. Okay, we've got an understanding. Once we fulfill or meet these clinical criteria, we are hypertensive. Okay. Now, what would cause this to happen? Why am I getting these readings, and why am I hypertensive? And maybe my girlfriend, my wife isn't, or my sibling or anybody else is not.
It's not.
Are there risk factors? What pushed me there?
Oh yeah, there are risk factors. They are grouped into two broad groups.
Okay.
Those that we call modifiable
All right.
risk factors and those that are not modifiable. So the non-modifiable risk factors have to do with the fact that you are a male, and then so all men are at higher risk of being hypertensive
Stop
compared
that.
with the
Stop
women.
that.
So the boy child is a very, very threatened species. And then
Just because I identify as female. Would that help?
No, biological.
Biologically, all males
All
are at a
males.
higher risk.
at higher risk.
Okay, of developing hypertension.
And then advancing age. As we grow older, our pressures tend to increase over time.
Okay.
So you can't do anything about your
Alright.
age. So, and then there are some people who have a genetic predisposition to
Okay.
hypertension.
Right.
And so you don't choose the family that you are born into.
Okay.
And so it comes with a package.
Okie dokie.
And then
And these are go on.
They are all non-modifiable.
Yeah, mhm.
And being a black man, as compared with a Caucasian,
Right.
you are at a higher risk of becoming hypertensive.
Okay.
You know, so those are the
which will take you to the IMF. Right? So,
in fact, our wahala chow.
all right. So let me try and understand this. Non-modifiable. It means there's nothing you can do about the
it.
fact that you are male, the fact that you are growing older, right? The fact that you may have some genetic, familial trait or disposition that makes you more vulnerable to hypertension. And then what was the last one?
And then having even family members who are hypertensive,
Okay,
close
family
family
history.
members. Yes.
Right, family history, and then of course your race or
Being a black person. Yes.
All right. And light brown? Okay, I'm messing around because I want you to remember some of these important things that would tip you into the vulnerable or maybe critical range. And you should be mindful. So, for example, if you're listening to us and there's a family history of hypertension, please stand on your chair. All right? If you're a black male or even just male, right? Stand on your chair. Right? If you have family history, we've talked about that, and then your race, of course, you're black. Okay? Those are things you can't run away from. You see, I always say you can run, but you can't run faster than your shadow. Right? So be wary of these things and take them seriously. These are non-modifiable, right? And they are risk factors, right? Some of them were preloaded software for you, even though people are playing with their biological status and all that. Okay, so very well, my lords. Okay, understood, right? So I have these things, right? I am male, okay? I'm black, right? I have all these things, but I'm not hypertensive. So it's not automatic.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's
so it doesn't
it's
explain.
a risk stratification.
It's a risk factor.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
It means compared to somebody who doesn't have these things, you are closer
Exactly.
and more vulnerable and
Exactly.
therefore more at risk. Okay.
So the
right.
more reason why you would need to go get yourself checks just to be sure that you are not hypertensive.
Right. What about those who don't meet these criteria, these risk factors? Should they be worried about their blood pressure?
Oh yes, because of the modifiable risk factors. Being sedentary, being at one place, not having a very active physical life, that puts you at risk of becoming hypertensive. Being obese is also another risk factor, which can be modified. You lose weight, your
You
risk
can be
reduces.
obese and modify it, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
From Obolo to Chingilingi,
Exactly.
right? You can. Those are things you can modify and do something about. If you don't exert yourself or exercise physically, right, and you have a largely or predominantly sedentary lifestyle, right, that is something you can do something about. You can
Exactly.
change, hence modifiable. Okay, what else did we add?
Having a high salt diet,
All right.
because salt has been associated with an increased risk of hypertension. So
Okay.
a heavy salt intake.
Heavy salt intake, which again, when you come to the in quotes darker parts of the world, we love our salt.
Oh yes, we
Right?
do.
We love our salt, and anything without it is kind of like bland and right? But when we say salt, Doc, any of you can explain this. Many people feel the food or the whatever you're talking about must be salty, but there are many food products that have salt, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yes.
do not necessarily or are not necessarily salty.
So the sodium content.
Right, sodium content is what
Exactly.
we're looking at. Okay, yeah. So, why is salt so closely associated with hypertension?
Well, it's complex. I mean, we can explain that salt goes with water, and as your body retains salt, it pulls water. So in the vessels, if you are having high sodium content,
Right,
it's assumed that it would pull water to it, and
Okay.
then it will increase the volume
right.
of. It's like I have a tap.
Okay,
I've opened it, more water. I'm exerting more pressure in the
right.
tubing.
And the
So-
salt is a catalyst for that.
So yeah, in lay terms, that is it. But
Okay.
it's a very complex
Right.
physiology going on there.
And there are some who genetically are more reactive
Yeah.
to salt
Oh, yes.
as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me read a couple of these out. Please note, I had pregnancy-induced hypertension in 2014, and it has come to stay. I'm on Aldomet 500 milligrams and Nificat,
Nificat.
sorry, right? 30 milligrams daily. I've been on these drugs for almost 10 years now. Should it change? Should it be changed, or do I continue with my drug regimen? This is Senam in Lashibi. Let me just read a couple more and come back and take some feedback. Good afternoon, Nortey. Once again, thank you and your guest. Please, I would like to know, what should a person do to make his or her blood pressure become or below or above normal? So we've talked about risk factors already, Hayford, so I'm sure you've heard that. We'll come back and address anything else by way of intervention. Please, Nortey, is it normal for a child who is 13 years old to have a BP of 107/75? From Victor Okomo in London, right? So we tend to think we're primarily talking about adults.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a great question. Let's hit on that one first, right?
Okay.
A child of 13.
So the values we are giving is for adults.
Mhm.
For children, there's a chart.
Okay.
We always try to peg children at a standard deviation or standard mean.
Okay.
So if I'm taking the BP of a
Mhm.
child, we have to trace it on the chart
Okay.
to see that for children of this age,
Right.
of this weight, this height, this
Mhm.
is the normal range of BP.
Okay.
So looking at this, it looks normal.
Okay.
I don't know how tall or big this child
Okay.
is. So to be accurate, you need to trace it on the chart to
Okay.
see that for that child's age and
Okay.
size, it is
Whether it's
a
normal,
normal
or,
for that child.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
But what we have been talking about basically has been for adults.
Okay, right. And you brought in something I wanted to address as well. You talked about obesity, right? People understand obesity, being overweight, and so on. These are also measurements, okay?
Yes.
Right? Indices or numbers we should know, okay? And that brings in the BMI or body mass index. Can we relate that to the risk factors for hypertension?
Oh yes, we can, because once you are obese, then your risk increases, and obesity is tied to either a reduced level of expenditure of the energy your body is gaining in the
Okay.
form of food, or the excessive intake of high energy foods,
Okay.
predominantly carbohydrates.
Right.
So pushing you towards the obesity category.
So you're
and
taking
then
in-
your BMI increases.
Right. You're taking in food, fuel. If you're not burning it, then it's a savings account. It's not a current account, right? And therefore, your body mass index,
Will
which is a
increase.
ratio of your height, your weight,
Exactly.
right,
Mhm.
will increase.
Yes.
Okay. I think the normal body mass is 18 to 24 point something.
Yeah.
24.9.
Point nine.
Yeah, 20,
Yeah.
24.9.
Yeah.
I've been chewing my stuff, Charlie, right?
Awesome.
And then we can also relate it to even waist size, waist measurement.
Yes.
Yeah? Those of you with waist measurements above 40, Charlie, let's talk. Okay? Don't dodge. Yes. It's an indicator. Okay? Your body mass index is really a measure of the spread of your flesh on your frame,
Yes.
your skeleton. Okay? Sometimes even they have the, what is it, the pinch measurement. When they pinch around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you the how many layers you've laid, right? You call them spare tires or love handles. Eh?
Love handles.
Yeah, the thickness of that can tell you something as well.
Give you an
So
idea.
your weight, right, as a ratio over your height, is an indicator because it tells you how much work your heart also has to do.
Exactly.
What you're carrying, and the engine, be it Tundra or Tico, in your body, has to now push and work harder
Exactly.
for you. Am I on the right track?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, listeners, the jury has it there. Watch your weight, watch what you're eating, right? Especially salt. Okay. When we come to talking about knowing your numbers, BP, blood sugar, yeah, cholesterol, BMI, these
Yes.
things you should know.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Good afternoon once again. Okay. Hayford wanted to know what we could do to either go into hypertension or go below. Right. We'll come back to that. There was a few others I want to clean up on. Very quickly. This one says, okay, Selassie. I've lost something Selassie said earlier. Okay, this one says, well done. All right, thank you. But there was somebody who said something about pregnancy-induced,
yeah.
and then the medication.
Yes, whether she has to change the medication
Right.
or not.
She's been on it for the past 10 years. She had the pregnancy-induced hypertension in 2014, and she's still on the same medication. She's asking, should it be modified?
If it ain't broke, don't change it.
Don't fix it. Don't change it.
Yeah.
So is it managing and controlling your BP?
Exactly.
That is the question.
Right.
So the aim is to target the BP to the required normal.
Okay.
And if those medications are sustaining her BP
Right.
at normal, she shouldn't change it.
Okay. So what you're hearing is that your physician or whoever's managing your hypertension is looking to gain and sustain, maintain control,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your medication in the dosages and whatever regime it's been administered, and if you are following that, I'll get to you, Stubborn Academy people, right? If you're following that, the feedback you give your physician tells him or her whether it is achieving control.
Yes.
Exactly.
So for this listener, whether it's 10 years or not, if the control is there and effective, don't touch it,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
And your physician typically will not touch it.
No, unless there are other
Other
comorbidities.
factors.
Other factors.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Right. This is the gentleman who's 66, right? And he's concerned about hypotension, or what seems to him to be lower than normal, right? 95/65 with a pulse of 59, okay? Other times it varies to 130/65 with a pulse of 60, right? He's concerned about low BP readings, okay? Should he be worried?
So we get this a lot. BP fluctuates.
Right.
Okay, fluctuates very much, and we will have patients who are hypertensive, and they know they are normal at, let's say, 130/65 like this. Sometimes they do get low readings.
Okay.
Our advice is, do not stop your BP medications.
Okay.
If you are having low readings, you are not having any symptoms like dizziness, or you get up suddenly and you feel faint, please do not stop. Talk to your health professional, because you will stop and it may fluctuate and it will jump in a second to about 200, and it will cause problems.
Okay.
So if your low readings are not giving you symptoms, do not stop. But whatever it is, when you go for your regular reviews, bring a chart, talk to us. We may have to reduce your doses,
Okay.
but do not stop.
All right.
Yeah, come to us.
Okay, 34
Yeah.
minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. Yes, the croaky voice is mine. I'm naughty by nature with a croaky voice. Yeah. The program is still Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living. Listen every Sunday, 2:05. We are live with all that impacts your health and well-being. We'll yank in the professionals, practitioners to talk about it and empower you and bring about some transformation. Today we're talking about hypertension. Know your BP, control it, live healthier and longer. Right? 17th May was World Hypertension Day, and May is the month of measurement and awareness. Okay, you have to know your numbers, because this thing can hide.
Yes.
To be there, you won't even see it as a screensaver, right? You won't see it on desktop, but it's doing the damage. Let me read a couple, and then we'll look at the consequences of unidentified hypertension and untreated, right, or
Yeah.
uncontrolled hypertension. Right, a couple of more text messages, WhatsApp, sorry. Listening live here, AC from Tema. Right, you're welcome, AC. Do you know your numbers? Ray in Toronto, Nortey, what type of salt are the doctors talking about? Iodated? All right, you know, there's always a way, eh? He will make a way. Yeah? Okay, so I'll hang on, we'll answer that. Ray in Toronto. Toronto salt. Hey, my goodness. All right, and then Frank is asking me, what should be the normal waist size? Come on, Frank. Show gazette your pink sheet first. Okay, what's your waist size? But all of these you can get online, okay? Yeah. When you want to check your BP, BMI, BP, cholesterol, the ranges are there, okay? Though you will be on TikTok doing all the things you shouldn't be doing, this is serious business. You can check it out, but I'll give you that in a sec, okay? So he wants to know the normal waist size, because I talked about those above 40
inches. Yeah.
It shows you where the flesh is laid, around the middle. Okay. Some people, you know, your body shape itself is an indicator. So, okay, let's come back into the studio. Have I read all of them? All right. Yeah. Okay. What is the consequence? Okay, I don't know. I am not aware. I haven't been to any hospital, which is, in quotes, cheaper, right? I haven't gone to see any of you expensive people or qualified people. I have the things we're talking about. My blood pressure is high.
Okay.
Okay. What will happen to me?
Well,
I have not known, and I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any doctor. I haven't listened too intently to any radio program, but I'm okay.
The reason why we are so concerned about hypertension is that, unlike conditions like malaria, pneumonia, which present symptoms that you can feel and say that my head is aching, I'm running a fever, my body is aching, so I must be having something.
Okay.
Hypertension doesn't do that.
Okay.
And moreover,
Just a second, Doc. Let me just break in, and there's a fire outbreak. Sorry, I'm breaking in. Fire outbreak around Ebony at Circle, or the Circle, near the Circle interchange. Ebony. Those of you who know Ebony restaurant, and the fire service is being called to respond. Okay, Ebony. I know there's a fire tender and an ambulance. I think under the interchange. Maybe it's just an ambulance, right? We're calling on the fire service to respond. Ebony restaurant near Circle. There's a fire outbreak there. Could the fire service kindly respond? Yes, Doc. So we're talking about what happens when this is unidentified and definitely unaddressed or not managed or controlled.
yes, so when the pressure goes high like that, there are no symptoms. The person feels nothing.
Okay.
But there are organs that are being damaged. The brain, the heart itself, the kidneys, the eyes. They can get damaged and by the time the damage is far advanced, then the person starts having symptoms, by which time is virtually almost too late.
Okay. So what we're saying is, whilst you are unaware, whatever complications and damage, all right, arising from, produced by the high blood pressures is going on.
It's going on.
It can affect your eyes, your heart, your kidney, and so on and so forth. Your
Exactly.
brain,
Exactly.
right? So, irrespective of the fact that it is asymptomatic or there are no signs and symptoms, damage is going
It's
on.
ongoing.
yes.
Right. So we want to catch this early and start the business of managing it,
Exactly.
irrespective of your age, your sex, or whatever. Right. This is why we need to catch it. Okay. So sometimes you're having should I say visual defects. You're reading, you're putting the phone closer and things like that. Sometimes it could be related to your blood pressure.
Oh, yes.
Right. So the pressure is affecting the optic nerves or the structures of the eye,
Exactly.
and therefore your vision deteriorates. Whoa.
So when you go to the eye specialist and then they look into your eye, there are specific changes that hypertension causes that can be seen in the eye.
Okay.
So once you go for the eye checks, the specialist sees that, then he notes that these being hypertensive changes go
Changes
to
in
have
your eye that can be picked up, right,
Yes.
by the ophthalmologist,
exactly
right, and sometimes even the optician or optometrist. They can
optometrist.
pick up some of these things and
Oh, yes.
say there's something wrong with your eye or your eyes, and it's likely that it's the
To the hypertension.
effect of
Hypertension.
hypertension. Whoa. All right. So I hope you're hearing this. Let me activate the phone line 0302216541. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're raising awareness on hypertension, which is a chronic situation where you have elevated blood pressure beyond the known cutoff points. We've talked about a systolic, the higher number of 140 or above, and a diastolic of 90, equal to 90 or above.
Yes.
That is the cutoff. The normal is reckoned to be hovering around 120/80. Okay? So let's be mindful and let's not start arguing about it and asking for a recount. The things you do. This is not primary, so we're talking your health. All right? 0302216541. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. So there's damage going on,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
even if it hasn't become overt, right, visible manifestation. There's damage going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a silent
Silent
killer.
killer.
Silent killer. So it's killing me all the same.
the day or time it will manifest might be too late.
All right. So with
Exactly.
all our poverty and leadership, political challenges, corruption, and all that, we have all these things to attend to.
Oh, yes.
Boy. Okay. Right. I almost said it should take away some of those leaders who are giving us headaches, but I won't say that. Good one this morning, please. Some of it, no. I've been diagnosed with BP, and I have taken responsibility. I started with Novas, amlodipine, which has been helpful, but the cost of this drug is so high. Maybe the cost is even elevating your BP, right? 27 cedis per pill or tablet. I just started on a generic one that is about 15 for 28 days. Okay, he's taking daily. I'm not very comfortable with this one because I have some little very funny feelings. What should I do? They should also help advocate for lower cost of the drugs. This is Kwame in Hohoi. Now, the interesting thing for me in this message, Kwame, is that it seems to suggest you made the adjustment or the change in the medication yourself or based on cost alone. All right? You're taking a generic. My guest will explain what a generic is. I don't want to take over that constituency, right? Because it doesn't mean it's not effective, okay? But what I'm interested in is that he has made a change. He's experiencing some funny things. I haven't heard him type. Kwame, please start typing, start work, right? If you have actually consulted your physician or the person managing you. Any comments on this one?
Yeah, I'll comment on that. So I'm happy this has come up, and it's one of the things we are advocating for: lower cost of drugs, lower cost of combination pills.
Right.
Because cost is becoming a problem.
Okay.
And the difference between the generic and the original drugs is a product.
Right.
That one company has done years of research, and then they come up with this novel, brilliant drug.
Okay.
And then they patent it.
They patent it because they research, they produce it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and they have to, as much as it's for the society, they also have to
recoup what they put into the
So
development.
the originals are good and they're expensive. But after a certain number of years, then other people can also get the formula in quotes and then produce
what
some
we call
at
the generics.
Generics, that's what we
Right.
call the generics,
Okay.
at a cheaper cost. Or because it might be cheaper because they don't have to.
They haven't done
The
all
research
the
has
research.
been done, exactly.
Right.
All the money
just
pumped in-
photocopying.
Exactly.
All right.
So it may be cheaper, but doesn't mean it's not effective.
Okay.
So I don't know if his funny feelings is mindset because he thinks it's cheap, it's not good.
Okay.
Or it's genuine. But whatever it is, like you said, he
See
should talk
your
to-
physician.
Exactly.
See your physician. Okay.
Everyone responds to certain drugs.
Do not try
differently.
this at home, right? Some people have got to school and they are in my studio. They are still in school, and then you decide to take it upon yourself to do some adjustments.
It's the same amlodipine though. So I mean, I'm not going to hoop his. I mean, here, but
You'll spank him.
no, I'll spank him.
Why you are avoiding saying that? Oh, you can spank listeners. Don't worry.
But yeah, he should talk to his primary health caregiver.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
We want to inform and also transform.
Exactly.
Right? Go back there and just don't think that it's 15 CDs or 5 CD savings. There may be a reason for some of these things. Okay. Hello, I'm Z, and I'm managing rheumatoid arthritis. Am I at risk of developing hypertension?
I'm also happy with this question
Okay.
because it's one of the risk factors. So we have the traditional risk factors, which are the modified and non-modified.
Okay.
But now other risk factors are coming up. Chronic health conditions. Chronic health conditions that causes inflammation in the body.
Right.
So rheumatoid arthritis, increased risks with inflammation of the vessels leading to hypertension, chronic kidney disease, some of the autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
So yes, you are at risk. Apart from the risk factors we gave are what has been studied traditionally. Yeah, it doesn't mean if you are not male, you can be female, slim.
Right.
You don't have, but you can still get hypertension. Okay, so those are the risk factors are associated with it, but anyone can get it. And having rheumatoid arthritis is an increased risk.
Please, I'd like to know if twitching of my eyelid is a sign of BP. This week I'm feeling like blood is rushing through my eyelid. Hey, twitching, it could be a reflex. It could be a muscular twitch.
Exactly.
I think you need to see and have it checked out. Oh?
It's not a sign of high blood pressure, but It could be, but it's not. So, like, check. Just the only thing that will tell you have BP is get your BP checked, your blood pressure checked.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Hello, Nortey. I'm 50 years. My BP has been on the range of 120/90. I've been on Nifecad 30 milligrams for the past 4 years. For some time now, I do have headaches when I take my medication. Is there a way I can reduce the volume from 30 to say 10 milligrams? No? Is that what he's trying to say?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. Say 10 milligrams.
Yeah? Who are you to reduce?
Because looking at his 120/90, we haven't hit the target yet. So if he's having what he thinks are side effects of the medication, he should approach his doctor and discuss it.
Okay.
Because many times one pill alone may not be enough, but taking smaller doses of 2 pills or 3 pills in combination may actually help to mitigate his
okay. Let me on the tail of this, it's 2:47 by the way. If you want to get a question in or call us, phone line is 0302 216541. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. This is Ultimate Health. WhatsApp is 055 1111 997. We're talking about hypertension.
Joy,
yeah.
99.7
And we're very hyper about it, okay, especially in May. But join us, right? So this question, he's on 30 milligrams for the past 4 years. Now he reports a range or a profile of 120/90. Now my question is this, and it's important that we get a response. When it is only one of the numbers that meets the threshold, so we said 140 and above, 90 and above. When it is only diastolic or systolic that meets the criteria, I'm still hypertensive, aren't I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Say it loud.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. It can be.
Because stubborn academy people, they will let way. Right? Please say that again.
So it's either A or B or both.
Both.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Joy,
Okay.
99.7
Don't ask for a
FM.
recount. Okay. It is your constituency, yes. But when the numbers meet the criteria, please, we have to take it seriously. You have to take it seriously. Okay. So he's done an adjustment. That's why I asked that question on the tail of that. The other thing too is when somebody says, I've been on this for 4 years. Okay, I'm a clinical psychologist. I manage a lot of these things as well. Because there are psychological aspects to it. But typically they're not telling the truth. They give you the impression as a physician that I've been taking it, as you said, over this period. And so what is the impact or the potential complication if I skip a couple of days? There are some days I don't take it. I'm going to have fun, or I'll be drinking with my friends. And Can one of you explain that?
Yes. So
Joy,
we are so
99.7
aggressive or hyper about hypertension because you have to control it. That is the ultimate aim.
Okay.
So I always tell my patients that if you are taking the drug and you're not achieving control, you might as well, it's like taking nothing. So you have to make sure you are getting the control, and whatever you have to do to get the control, if it means adhering to your medication as you and your physician have agreed. No one will impose anything on you. We will explain, you give us your feedback, we will agree on your regimen, and then you have to adhere to it. So if you take it as and when, it's like you are the same as someone who is not taking their medication, and that would be painful, knowing taking medication and still getting the complications. So if you are doing it, do it right.
Okay, let me dig in there. Let me twist the dagger that I used to stab. Let me twist it a bit more. So if I vary it, I'm not consistent, compliant, there's a problem.
Yes.
There is.
Now, let me ask, if I meet these numbers, I meet the criteria for hypertension, look at me in the eye in the studio and tell me, is it for life?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is for life.
Just take it. Let's use this analogy. Your blood pressure is like a calabash on water.
Okay.
We are trying to keep it below water. You take off the hand that is keeping it below water, it just springs back up to the surface.
Essentially, Doc, what both of you are telling me, right, and confirming is that once identified, control must be maintained
For life.
for life.
For life.
Yes.
Okay. Whoa. right?
But it's the better part of two evils.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to have the complications,
Okay.
the strokes, the heart attacks, the
99.7
kidney
FM.
failures.
Okay.
You know.
I mean, you eat every day.
Mm-hmm.
So most people
No, I
think
don't.
this this is synthetic.
I've taken a haircut. Go ahead.
This is a synthetic product, and
Yeah.
I'm introducing something foreign to my body. The food you are eating is foreign as well. These medications have been well researched. So take it as the food you take every day.
Okay.
Forget about it being synthetic. Take it
Okay.
and control it for life.
Okay. Right. Ray in Toronto is asking about the type of salt before he eats into it.
All sorts. But I mean, the
We're talking
emphasis
about sodium.
Yes,
sodium. Yes. So
Yes.
I
So
dated is an
hydrated,
additional.
non-hydrated,
dated
it doesn't really
matter.
matter. It's the load of sodium that goes
Right.
into the body, because where sodium goes, water follows.
Okay.
And where water goes, it increases the pressure of the space that it occupies.
Okay, Ray.
And so your high sodium
Okay.
with water increase pressure.
Okay. Toronto salt is salt. Okay. Ray, thanks for tuning in. We love you all. Right. If a 70-year-old has a BP of about 140/90, is that also considered hypertension?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
This is from AC in Tema.
Yes, it is considered hypertension. It's just that for older people, we are not very aggressive. You know, with age, your vessels thicken a bit, so they may not be as compliant as a young person's vessel to relax so much. So some BP increase is expected.
Right.
But 140/90 is hypertension. We may not be so aggressive with our treatment,
Right.
but it is still hypertension.
AC, it's still hypertension. How can doctors determine not to change your BP meds? How many people have BP monitors at home to check and keep a chart to share with their doc? Many people do, and there are many apps and things that are also now measuring and monitoring and keeping the record.
Yes.
Many of the home monitors also have memory and memory cards.
Exactly.
So you can actually retrieve and get a profile of your numbers over a period. And sometimes you can even feed this into apps that will give you a graph. Okay. And so, yeah, most people, of course, if we go into peri-urban and rural areas and lower socioeconomic brackets, then we may have a challenge, Didi. Yeah? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right.
Spot
Because
on.
once it's a lifelong condition, you are advised to try and acquire one of the BP machines.
Okay.
Thankfully, they are becoming cheaper
Yeah.
because
More available.
more people are buying it, so the markup on these
Yeah.
machines is
Yeah.
coming down.
Right, because they're getting volumes of sales and etc.
Exactly.
All right, you'll be amazed what people bought during COVID. Hey, they didn't even call in to question me. This one says, "Thanks, Nortey. I'm Z." Okay, I've read that one. Very quickly, please. Any connection? Nope. Where is it? Between cholesterol and BP. This is from Na in Labadi or La.
So there are some things we call cardiac risk factors. The BP itself, the hypertension, is a risk factor for cardiac diseases.
Okay.
That is the end organ damage. The cholesterol is also an independent risk factor
Yeah.
for the cardiovascular diseases like the
Right.
stroke, heart attack, and those
Okay.
things. If you have both, your risk increases. It's
Right.
like a cumulative.
Yeah.
So, and then you having BP, most studies have shown us that these things go hand in hand. Most
Yeah.
people who are hypertensive may have this lipidemia or high cholesterol. So, direct effect on BP, yeah, it could, because it could clog the vessels, make it narrow, increase pressure. But then, either one on their own is an independent risk factor
Okay.
for cardiovascular disease.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes. Definitely, I'll have to bring the fellows in cardiology back into the studio to do a second take and do management as well. But Nortey, my second question is that a friend of mine told me that his father said when he's taking his medication, his manhood, oh boy, wala, is not erected again. What's the cause? Right? So some of the medications do have an impact on erectile functioning, right?
Yes, yes, they do.
And that's for the males, okay? So more male wahala, right? And many males skip. In fact, some will tell their physicians, please, ask for my Dumso. Please, I don't want it. If it is BP versus Dumso, I want the performance, right? Why does this happen?
Well, looking at the definition of hypertension,
Right.
because there's an increased tension in the arteries
Right.
that the heart is pumping against. And so some of the medications work by relaxing those vessels
Mhm.
to allow for the pressure to come down. Unfortunately, to maintain a good erection, you need some tension in the vessels in the penis.
Power
you
no
know.
here.
And so
Yes.
taking a medication that relaxes the vessel doesn't encourage the blood that is supposed to engorge it to stay there for long.
The erection is blood.
The erection is affected.
And no
But
need pressure, no
thankfully,
power, no bar.
thankfully, there are other ways to circumvent that problem so
Uh-huh.
that you still kill two birds with one stone. So the health practitioner
Mhm.
has to educate the patient about some of these expectations.
Okay.
Because the most powerful sexual organ is the brain.
Yeah.
So that knowing that these things can happen can
Mm.
sometimes offset the the obvious or the perceived weakness
Right.
in erection.
Right.
But there are other things that you can take
Right.
that can improve.
It's not
Okay.
all the
You
BP
know.
medications
It's
that
not
do
all
that.
the BP medication.
Exactly.
Sometimes your
So-
physician may
so-
switch you to
Exactly.
something
Exactly.
else, which
Yeah.
doesn't have that related.
Tendency to cause that. So
Okay. But also, yes, doc.
Sorry, and the hypertension itself can't cause erectile.
That's where I was going.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, right. You are
You are
coming into
thinking
male.
that
You are
I
coming
like-
to male territory. You've come into the wrong restroom, right?
Okay,
well,
Dr.
she has a
Tobo.
vested interest.
Oh, I know.
my
Well,
God.
I'm just kidding. This is what helps my listeners to remember. So actually, the unidentified, uncontrolled BP can weaken your manhood
Yes.
Oh, yes.
over time.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
You
what
overwork the
happens is
vessels
that
there.
what Dr. Tobo has just said is, should I say, superimposed or secondary on an already weak
Working
system.
system.
So when you give the man the thing, his BP is managed, but Charlie, now the doomsday is evident. Okay?
Very.
It's not just distribution; it's generation, right? Okay. So you need your blood in good, should I say, or your cardiovascular system in good health
Mhm.
to get a good erection.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Right. We're running out of time, but let me stick on this one then, because the men I know they'll be sending me messages. When I skip, or let me put it this way, when I have problems with my erection, okay, and note erection is about potency, not fertility.
No.
Exactly.
Okay, let's
Not
get it.
virility.
Yeah. Okay. So how strong it is, and whether that strength is sufficient to do the job, right? Now, when I have problems and I go and take some of the, I'll mention it, some of the enhancers,
Okay.
right, for erectile dysfunction, right? They also can lead to a spike in my BP,
Exactly.
right? And that is why there's a caution with some of those medications that promise that they'll give you a longer journey and a harder journey and all that. Any comment on that? Because it's also related to people's BP and the things and the concoctions they are messing around with.
Yes, most medications or orthodox medications have gone
99.7
through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 rigorous testing so that you can match dose with response. These ones that are off label prescriptions for enhancing male potency
Right.
do not have any relationship between dose and response.
Okay.
And even if they do, what you are told, take a cup. What is a cup? What is a glass?
Right.
What is, those kind of measurements are not quantifiable.
Right.
So that the
Be
person
careful.
takes it and then he lands in trouble.
Okay. Great stuff. We've run out of time. It's 3 p.m. But let me just read this one. Good afternoon, Nortey and your guests. Great educational program. I have been checking my BP at home. Now, the cuff of the BP machine is faulty, but I'm not getting the cuff alone to buy. Please help because I think I need the whole set. Let me
Oh,
quickly,
some places
some
can
of
get the
these
cuff.
places you can get, check some of the pharmacies are stocking.
Yes.
Go online as well. Okay. But my caution, right? My caution is that you need your BP apparatus to be reliable and accurate. Okay. I have clients who send me even pictures of the measures on a daily basis, which I have to monitor, right? Sometimes I query them and say, hey, the date is wrong, the time is wrong, because I use them. Sometimes I go through my gallery and I check your profile over a period. Okay, so you may get the cuff, but make sure, right,
It's the right fit.
you're getting the right fits, you're getting the right readings. Okay, it's not just readings or any readings.
Exactly.
Okay, the benefit of a home device, right, and some of these snazzy modern ones is that they are accurate. But if they are unreliable or faulty, it needs to be checked as well. All right, it may give you spurious data. Doctor, a wing commander doctor, Benjamin Tobo of the 37 Military Hospital. Many thanks to you, and Dr. Dorcas Ajen Bonsu. Right, it's been great, but I'll raise your BP and relax the BP of my listeners by insisting you come next week, because we want to be able to look, or your representatives come next week, but we'd prefer if the two of you come, and we are fussy like that, right? To now talk about the different interventions.
Yeah.
There are non-medical, non-pharmacological,
Yes.
non-drug interventions.
Yeah.
So you do have BP, but you've been given some lifestyle modifications to
Modifications.
adhere to, right? And that may also bring about some reliable
Reduction.
control.
Yeah.
And then there are drug, right? And then we need also to look at the complications
Yeah.
arising. So I'll be grateful if you can, or members or representatives of the cardiology
Ghanaian
Ghanaian
Society of Cardiology.
Hey, my heart. Nah, me ko hoko ye
And then so that we can also throw some light on what we are doing this month as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
program for the whole month. Okay,
Yes.
you see, you've tied yourself into coming next week. Right. Great stuff. Many thanks to my producer Abe Kusan Kofi. He's slim and chingilingi, but I'm sure he'll go and check. Sometimes I use him as a proxy. But know your numbers, take them seriously, and get closer to a health facility and have them properly investigated. This has been Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. With me, Nortey by nature. I've been with the fellows in, cardiology fellows in training, right? Doctors Bonsu and Tobo. Dr. Tobo is a twin of another doctor we've had on this program, who's a urologist. Okay. That's a powerful family, But we'll be back next week with another edition, and we'll tie up all the management and other questions you have on hypertension. Stick and stay on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm out.